Okay, I just wanted to make a quick video. This is going to be the last time before Christmas that I show up or send y'all anything by email. Actually, I do have one more thing I'm sending out tonight. But I just wanted to come on because there's been just a topic that keeps coming up over and over when I'm talking to people. And whoops, hang on. No. I could share this to a group. I'll do that later. That I just keep talking to people and it keeps coming up over and over, and I'm like, oh, I've got to remind you about this. I need to talk about this. I need to teach about this again. And hold on one second. I have my sister family coming over this evening, so I've just been rushing, and then I realized, oh, it's almost 11 o'clock, so I wasn't quite situated, but we'll get going here in just a minute. The topic is, let me open this real quick. Okay, and let me open my notes real quick, although they're really haphazard. But, okay. So what I wanted to talk about here for like 20 minutes only is something that I teach that I usually fit into a longer teaching on effective prayer journaling. But this topic is always the one that I feel like, and I could be wrong, is most overlooked and least implemented. And not surprisingly, it's the simple strategy that when it is implemented, I believe makes the hugest, biggest difference in building our faith and allowing us to just have more confidence in turning things over to the Lord and giving our anxieties and burdens and our requests to Him, and helping us see how He is moving and working through all the things in our lives and building our story. And that is prayer tracking. And it's really simple. Basically, what I recommend you do is you have two lists. You have a list for short-term prayer requests, and you have lists for those longer-term ones. The things that, you're praying about something in the future, whether it's a specific date, and it's going to be a while. You're not gonna get a response within the next week or two. So you have your prayer requests and what I call your continuing prayers. Okay, this is so important. Actually, out of all the strategies and things that I teach, I should start with this first. I start with somatic practices first, and maybe I need to flip that. I need to do this first and that second, because I really do believe that this is so effective. And I tell the story, and I explain over and over, and I can't find my notes, so I'm going to be all over the place, but you'll get the thread. I'll send you some comprehensible notes out later with the link. But we send up little prayer requests, whether they're spoken from the heart, whether they're spoken out loud, whether they're in our heads, in silent prayer. We send up little requests all the time. And we pray them, and many of them, these smaller requests, we forget about them. We forget we even made them. And then we get an answer or a response 2 weeks later, 4 weeks later, 6 weeks later, and we don't make the connection. And this is not good. This is not good. We are missing out on so much by not tracking all the prayers, even the little ones. even the ones that we think are not important enough, or we think, I'm not going to, does anyone ever think, I'm not going to pray this little prayer request because I don't want to bother God? Now I'm going to tell you stories. If you've been listening to my teachings for a while, you've heard these stories before, so I'm going to tell them fairly quickly. When my youngest was in like first grade, I was very, very stressed. I was stressed about something coming up in the weekend, because it was a simple thing. It was a minor problem. I had 3 events I had to get through, 3 activities or events I had to get through in the weekend with the family related. And one of the events, I think it was probably a gymnastics meet or something, one of the events did not have the time or date set. And I had 2 other events. And so I really needed this one event that we needed to be at, which was actually the priority event. We had to be at this one, to be at a certain date and time. Or else I was not going to be able to make another event, and that would not be good either. I'd probably hurt someone's feelings or something like that, because they were all important events. And so I was fretting in the kitchen, and my youngest child at the time, who was maybe 7, was like, "What's wrong, Mom? What's wrong?" And I was like, I'm just worried about the schedule this weekend, and I really, if the meet doesn't happen at this time, we're going to miss other things. And then they said to me, have you prayed about it? And I remember I got irritated. And I turned and I said, "No, I haven't prayed about it. There's just been a tsunami across the world. There had been some sort of event. I'm not sure which one it was at the time. There had been some, maybe it was the Japan thing, the Tokyo, I think it was that. I was like, they just had a tsunami across the world. There are people with real problems, and I'm not going to bother God with my schedule." I said that. And my 7-year-old child looked at me and said, she said, "That's so silly." She said, "God is so big, he can handle it all. He can help those people over there who are in crisis, and at the same time, he can help you with your little schedule problem. And it doesn't make him any less. You don't take anything away from him with your little prayer request. He can still be there for them, and he's there for you at the same time." And I was just like, okay, I'm 38 years old. I've been walking with the Lord as long as I can remember. And wow, never got that in my mind. There were some prayers that were just too small. But anyway, so once that clicks and you start keeping track of your prayer requests, and I use my trusty prayer journal. This was actually my proof copy. It was good enough, I went ahead and used it. But I designed this. It goes along with the 4-step effective prayer method that I also teach, which I'm not going to go in today. But if you look around, go to my YouTube and search for a video on effective prayer, you can find it. I'll teach on it again sometime soon. But there's a place, but you write down your prayer requests, the big ones and the small ones, and then you check back and you track them, and you're going to start to notice all those little things. I'm sitting up. He's hearing them all. He hears every one. He responds every time. Maybe not immediately. Maybe it's longer term. Maybe it's 6 weeks out. I tell the story, and I'm going to stay short today, so I'm not going to go into it here. But I have another story where I did this very thing. And I sent up a quick prayer over something, hoping that a situation would change. It was very minor. It wasn't a big deal. If the situation didn't change, it was going to be okay. But I would have liked to see a situation change. And I wrote it down. Lord, please help with this situation. And wrote it down, forgot I prayed it. A few weeks later, the situation did change. It was like in a pronouncement, like right to my face. This situation has changed in the way you had hoped, but I didn't even make the connection. It was that much in my face, but I had already forgotten. That I had prayed about it. And so it was actually another week after that I went back to my journal and I was like, holy cow! 6 weeks ago, I had prayed about that. And if I hadn't written down, I would have missed it. And we miss it all the time, you all. We miss it all the time. God is working so much so in our lives, and we miss it. And so I teach, not only do we write down the small things and the big things, because it builds your faith. It builds your faith. And since I have been teaching people this, I don't know anyone who has said, I've been prayer tracking and I'm not getting nothing. And let me tell you something, this is not a method to manipulate God. This is not a genie in the bottle type of method at all. This pleases God, because when you write it down, it's an act of faith. You are saying, God, I trust you're going to answer this, so I'm going to write it down. I trust so much that you're going to answer this, I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to be checking back to see how you respond. And he loves that, because then you see how he's working, and he gets the glory, he gets the credit, and he loves that. Okay? So it's not a formula, it's not a manipulation, it's an act of faith. And I did pull up some verses I wanted to go over to give that point in, that this is something that we are told to do in the New Testament. A couple of verses, it's this word discern or test the will of God. We see it in Romans 12:2, talking about renewing our mind, but then that you may discern what is the will of God. That underlined word is, I forgot how to say this one. Dokimazo is probably dokima. Anyway, I'll come back later and tell you for sure, but that is the underlying word. And then again in Ephesians 5:10, carefully discerning what pleases the Lord. It's the same word, dokimazo, D-O-K-I-M-A-Z-O is how it's transliterated. But it means to examine carefully. It means to test. It means to evaluate attentively. It's an ongoing, intentional practice. And when we prayer track all our little prayers, the small ones and the big ones, that's exactly what we're doing. We are inspecting, we are examining, we are testing. We're saying, okay, Lord, this is on my heart. This is my prayer request. Of course, I also teach that we always pray this and release it to God. See, now I need to do the whole teaching again on the whole. This is why it's usually just a little part in the bigger part. I'll do that after the new year. I'll do another on the whole effective prayer with prayer tracking. But I definitely wanted to get this out. If you have one new spiritual practice you implement in 2026, do this. Do this. Because when we do it, we are dokimazoing or dokimazoing. We are carefully discerning and inspecting where God, where are you showing up? I know you're going to respond. Before you started this practice, you might not have known he's going to respond. But as you go through, you'll see, oh, he answered that little thing, and this little thing, and this little thing. And this big thing, I'm still waiting on, but you know what? I'm starting to get little glimpses of seeing how things are unraveling and how things are shifting. And most of all, when you have that big, hard prayer request and it's not answered in the way that you like, you have comfort. Because you know, listen, look at all God's done. All of these things, he's heard everything. So I know for whatever reason, I can trust based on my discernment, on my tracking, on my deciphering. I can trust that he saw a bigger picture. And he knew that either this was best or that I needed to learn something. He's shaping me and I needed to learn something. Okay? So, prayer tracking. 15 minutes, 16 minutes. I'm going to go up to 20 minutes. So what else do I want to say since I didn't bring notes? Oh, back to those verses. Yes, it gives the idea of that along with be very careful how you live. And that word underneath there is peripateo. Be very careful how you walk through your days. Being intentional. Discerning, noticing what God is doing. I don't know how we can do that in this crazy world that wants to throw everything at us and get our attention off the Lord without, at minimum, just writing down our little requests. And again, it pleases the Lord. It pleases the Lord because I know the example I'll give you. It's like a parent and a child, a preteen child, and the child brings the request to the parent. And the parent doesn't respond or says maybe or let me think about it. There's not an answer right away. So what does that preteen child, that 11-year-old child do? They come back and they keep asking and they keep asking and they keep asking. And eventually they're going to get an answer. It may be yes, it may be no. More often than not, we as parents know it ends up being yes, unless it's for their own good that it's no. But they keep coming to us. A person on the outside looking in would say they're just pestering. They're being a pest. They're being, they're not going to let it go. They're bugging their parents. But from the child's point of view, they know their parent. And they know it's faith in their parent. I know that I'm going to check with my parent and ask again because I know my parent and I trust them that they're going to that they're going to respond eventually. And so that's what prayer tracking is. It's just letting God know, hey, God, I know you. If you're doing it with this posture, I know you. I trust you. I'm going to get a response to this little prayer and these big prayers. And I also know my own mind, and I forget. I see people, and I say, I'll pray for you, and sometimes I forget, and then I pray my own prayers, and I forget what they were. But not anymore. And let me tell you something. Yeah. And then at the end of a journal, and that's what I'm going to be doing after Christmas this week, is going through and pulling out the things that God did this year. You want to talk about building your faith? Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is if I, other than what the Lord has done for me and shown me and proven himself to me in other ways, my prayer journal is the foundation is my whatever tangible thing, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like I said, I didn't write notes, but you know what I'm trying to say. I feel like nothing has built my faith like keeping this and tracking the small things. Okay, so that's all. I wanted to tell y'all real quick before I sign off with these last 30 seconds. I do have some opportunities coming up right after Christmas. The biggest one is starting January 5th. Enrollment's open now. We have a Ladies Connection cohort. It's going to go for 12 weeks for 3 months, and we're going to go through the life points, soul care learning experience. We will, I'm just going to send you to the website. You can check it out and join us. And then we're going to have one more. If you're not sure, if you're interested in maybe joining that, but not sure, there's a 2-day, 1 hour each day, December 29th and 30th. We're doing another peace reset. And that one is kind of, it's not 3 weeks, but you could just come in and see, especially those of you who are new. I've had a lot of new people find me over the past few weeks. You can just kind of see more about what it's about. And again, my website, sherryelaine.com. You can go there, and there's links to the 2-day. There's actually links to a free e-course, and there's also the link to the 12-week. You can look at the details there. I'm not going to waste any more of your time here. I do want to say, if you already did the 2-day earlier in December, or if you've already signed up for the Life Points 12-week in January, that you're going to get you're going to get access to the December 28th and 29th 2-day teachings, and you're going to get, if you haven't already gotten it, the PDF copy of the Release and Restore Journal. So if you've already done it, or if you've already signed up for January, don't sign up for the 2-day, because that's included. You're gonna get that as a kind of an unannounced bonus as well. So, but that's it. And I've got to get going. I've got to finish mopping some floors and figuring out what I'm doing this evening. Oh, I've got to go pick up some groceries at the curbside pickup. So you all have a wonderful Christmas. I will not be back on until after Christmas, the 27th, the 29th. Anyway, hopefully I'll see some of you then. Bye for now.